Now, when Bitcoin first became mainstream, I wasn't surprised when I first heard both these guys initially share the same views that I do when it comes to Bitcoin being a scam. I would always hear them both saying negative things about Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies, and I remember back when Mark Cuban said that even a banana has more value than Bitcoin, which is true, and Kevin O'Leary, the guy who gave himself the nickname Mr. Wonderful, which is just corny, well, he would always say that cryptocurrencies are worthless and that Bitcoin is garbage, and how he would never be so stupid to invest in such a thing. So I wanted to make this video on how these self-proclaimed sharks have now both swam on land, and they have devolved into sheep that have followed the herd into the imaginary world of cryptocurrency. So I will explain what has changed from their original thoughts saying that Bitcoin is trash till now where they all of a sudden love it. Okay, so it's obvious to see that both Mark Cuban and Mr. Not So Wonderful, well, they are being paid off by Bitcoin whales to endorse this pump and dump scam. And that's exactly why neither of them can be trusted. Now, of course, they are not the only ones who are being paid off. CNBC are also on the payroll of Bitcoin whales. Every second advertisement on their network is a Bitcoin pump, but that's a topic for another video. So it's obvious to see that these two sheep sharks sold out to the highest bidder in exchange for endorsing the greater fool scam known as Bitcoin. Not that it's the first time they've pumped up something as worthless as Bitcoin. If you know anything about how Mark Cuban made his money, then you would know that back in 1999, during what we now know as the dot-com bubble, immediately after selling his company broadcast.com to Yahoo for $5.7 billion, well, broadcast.com pretty much became obsolete overnight. It failed miserably, and still to this day, broadcast.com is considered to be one of the worst acquisitions of all time. And who benefited from such a horrible acquisition? It was the sheep shark himself, Mark Cuban. So it's ridiculous for him to use his platform to tell his followers not to panic as Bitcoin's price is plummeting, because he says that he's been here before and that there's nothing to worry about. But what's funny is how neither of these guys liked Bitcoin when it was $10 or $100 or even $1,000. No, they only started pumping it up when the price was above $50,000. So that is proof that they are being paid off by Bitcoin whales. But I think that most would agree that it's Mr. Not So Wonderful who is the biggest fraud out of these two sheep sharks. He has said that Bitcoin is software that can be compared to the likes of Microsoft and Google. Now, for this guy to use his platform to spew out such nonsense to his followers is just ridiculous, and it's irresponsible. This type of advice could financially ruin people if they were foolish enough to listen to him. But the thing is, he doesn't care. He's encouraging his followers to put their life savings into Bitcoin so that the price can go up, and so that he can dump the Bitcoin that he owns onto the greater fool who's crazy enough to buy it from him. Kevin O'Leary is a fraud. And what this fraudster doesn't understand is that Bitcoin could never be compared to Microsoft or Google because, first of all, Bitcoin is not a business. It doesn't produce anything, nor does it provide a service. It's a digital token that only exists in cyberspace. And he clearly doesn't understand the utility of software, even though he claims that selling software is how he made his money. But, and this should come as no surprise, he also made his money at the height of the dot-com bubble, the same way his sheep shark friend Mark Cuban made his money. And again, this should probably come as no surprise, but the same thing that happened to Mark Cuban's company, being that it failed miserably after he sold it, well, Mr. Not Wonderful's company also failed miserably not long after he sold it. So he clearly knows nothing about software, because if he did, then SoftKey, which was the insolvent company that he sold into the dot-com bubble before it crashed, while Businessweek magazine wouldn't have described the sale of his company to be one of the worst deals of all time. So don't listen to anything either of these sheep sharks have to say. Okay, now, let me educate Mr. Wonderful on the utility of software, because I know he's out there somewhere in his pajama pants watching this video. And you can pay attention to Sheep Shark Mark, because I know you're also watching. So, software is the brain of the electronic device that it operates in. So the software operates inside the hardware. For example, when you hit the space key on your laptop, the software that operates inside that laptop has been programmed to perform that task, which will appear on the screen. You can't operate a laptop on Bitcoin, but Kevin O'Liar thinks that you can. And because he's that clueless, he doesn't know that Microsoft is the #1 software company in the world. And if I purchase their software, like Microsoft Office for example, I can use it on my electronic device. But his cluelessness is on full display when it comes to business, because selling software isn't the only way that Microsoft makes their money. They have a cloud computing business, and they also sell the electronic devices that their software operates in. Okay, so the hardware, the physical products, the laptops, personal computers, and Microsoft also owns Xbox. Don't you get it, Kevin? Are you that ignorant? This guy thinks that Bitcoin can offer these same services, and he also thinks that every time you want access to information, Bitcoin will give you the answers the same way that Google does. This guy is delusional. But I want to finish out this video by discussing a few tweets by Mark Cuban as he tries to trash gold and praise cryptocurrencies. Okay, so here's one of his tweets. Let me help. Gold is hyped as much as crypto. Do we really need gold jewelry? Gold can make you a ring. Bitcoin and Ether are technologies that can make you a banker, allow friction-free exchange of value, and are extensible into an unlimited range of business and personal applications. Okay, now, first of all, gold is not hype. Gold has substance. It's a precious metal, and it's not nearly as hyped as Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is 100% hype. Bitcoin has no substance, and it has no intrinsic value. And gold is also a very beautiful metal, and it's a luxury good. You know, maybe some of those Dallas Maverick basketball players can explain to him why they love gold so much. And he doesn't understand that jewelry isn't gold's only utility, and he should be embarrassed for being so damn ignorant. Now, in his next tweet, he says, what we are seeing built with crypto today is just proof of concept. As tech continues to get better, cheaper, and faster, there will be new applications and maybe even something that will supersede what we know as crypto today. But gold won't ever change, which is why it will die as a SOV, which stands for store of value. Okay, now, on top of Sheep Shark Mark not understanding that gold has more utility than being a store of value, he can't see that he's contradicting himself in his own tweets. The fact that gold will never change is exactly why it will always be the best store of value. The properties inside gold, the metal, can't be replicated, and it's consistent. And consistency is exactly what you need in a store of value. And in his next tweet, he says, don't forget, gold was a SOV built on technology. From picks and shovels to mining operations that keep trying to improve. Whoever could use the tech of the day to find and mine the most efficiently was the most rewarded, much like crypto is today. Gold is dead. Move on. Seriously, the more he tweets, the more foolish he sounds, because he doesn't understand that when you mine Bitcoin, you get nothing. It is a complete waste of energy. Bitcoin mining is very costly, and the reward doesn't exist. It's an imaginary coin that only exists in cyberspace, and the world is worse off from the energy that is wasted every time you mine Bitcoin. Now, when you mine gold, on the other hand, you get the precious metal, and by finding more efficient ways to mine gold, it will actually benefit the world because of its utility. Or you can store that gold and you can use it as a store of value, because you are storing the value inside the metal, and the fact that it will never change is what makes it so valuable. The physical properties inside gold will never change, and they can't be replicated. But that doesn't mean that gold can't adapt to new technologies, because jewelry isn't the only thing that gold is used for. It's in all of our favorite electronic devices. It's in our laptops, cell phones, tablets, because it's one of the best conductors of electricity. But Sheep Shark Mark, well, he doesn't understand any of that.
which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business, it's in your family for 37 years, and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin.